Hello and welcome to another Streamteam commentary. This time we're doing The Prince of Egypt, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it always will be. I am very excited to do a live commentary on it. Anyway, let's bring in the other guests. So let's start off with... Karen works.
And I don't mean it metaphor.
Fuel of the cosmos mixes with the boundaries of speed to transcend the beyond. I synchro summon Warlord Savage Dragon.
Hello, good evening, good day, everyone. I hope you're all... Oh, hello. The microphone seems to keep going weird. Anyway, hello, everyone. How are you doing, Dunn?
I'm doing okay, can't complain. And then let's bring on Aspiring. I know he's muted, but we'll see. Anyway, let's bring
Get fucked! Fuck you!
Now you use my great intro? Now?
Yes.
That should be for when you're doing something that requires a fuck you.
Anyway, let's bring on Mr. Kodak.
Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary.
Yes, we're watching a film.
And the viewing will be legendary.
That too.
Indeed. Alrighty. Ah, fantastic. Our good friend Wasia is in the back. Let's bring him on.
You know, that intro just made me want to play Doom.
It is a good game. It is a super fun game. All right. How you doing, Wasia? All right.
I think his microphone broke.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Helium bug. Oh my gosh. That's funny. So I know, so Karam said in the back room he hasn't seen it, but has anybody else seen this movie?
I have.
Okay. So
For once,
what are
yes,
y'all's-
I've seen the movie.
Okay. Mother said it was heresy.
Oh, wow.
Well, your mom is incorrect, but very bold. True. Yeah, that's true. What are the differences between the Islamic version of the Exodus and the Judeo-Christian version? Seven
really?
plagues didn't help they get them out of Egypt then? I'm curious.
He's not sure about the details, but it seems there is no mention of the 7 plagues. Curious.
Yeah, I know. What's her bucket? Lindsay Ellis hates this movie, which is weird. Like her reasons for hating it are supremely stupid. And now she's kind of sought it off of YouTube and gone over to Nebula, like the rest of the cretinous tribe that she's in. The only exception being Hello Future Me. He's the only one that isn't awful.
I'm not familiar with who that is.
Huh. Where?
Writing channel.
Ah,
He has hits and misses.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, that's interesting. She no longer has her I Got Canceled video up on her channel. That's very interesting.
probably realized that makes her look rather silly. My guess, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Where to find... Yeah, it's no longer on her channel, which is kind of funny. And kind of the only place where you can now find it is probably on what is it? What is probably on the various reaction channels that reacted to her comments.
Sup?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey,
Yeah, so, like I was trying to express earlier, I'm pretty sure now the story of Exodus and Islam is basically beat for beat the same. It's just that court's still out on whether or not we agreed that the 7 plagues thing happened, that the 7 plagues of Egypt happened, and all that other stuff. I mean, it's basically the same story with just that one omission. I'm not even sure if it actually is omitted or not, because my mom says it's not in there. However, the Quran is basically the final has the final say on all this, and it's been a very long time since I read it.
So, great news. I found it.
You
It was
found
unlisted, but I found it.
oh,
Oh.
good job.
Yeah, let's see. What's the... Somewhere in here.
Writer's Tears.
The Prince of Egypt, anti-Semitism. God,
Just liking the Prince of Egypt is anti-Semitic. You know, I could
I'm sorry,
definitely
this is
see
just-
that.
God, I can't believe somebody kept this for so. I'm sorry. This took.
That makes no
Well,
sense
here's
to
the-
me.
Well, and here's the funniest thing about this is Lindsay Ellis believes that it is Nazis coming after her or diet Nazis coming after her, when not really. The diet Nazis are just kind of laughing at the blood sport. That's been my experience with diet Nazis. They don't care. They're like, they just like watching the left eat itself. They find that hilarious, more so than.
To be fair, so do normal people.
That is also true. Yeah,
leftists are not, leftists are just not normal people at all, and for the most part, they're not even good people for that matter. So that would explain their behavior.
Yeah, they do have some questionable morals more often than not.
Oh, it
They
isn't
also-
even. I don't even say
they
it's
also have
questionable
weird
at this
views
point.
of the
I
world.
just think it's. Oh, sorry.
I'm just being polite about it.
Sorry,
They also
we,
have
we were
really
talking
messed
over
up
each other.
moralities. They also have messed up moralities a lot of the time, where it's just like High Top Films often displays that he's an amoral piece of crap.
Yeah, no, I don't even say that they have questionable morality. I just say they are ontologically evil. It isn't even. They don't even. I'm not denying that. I'm not questioning their morality. I am denying its existence.
Yeah.
So much dedication. So the qualm here is that I did an anti-Semitism because I don't like the way the Prince of Egypt, functionally excuses the mass slaughter of innocent children in the narrative, because the Book of Exodus frames it as a necessary evil. And yeah, I don't really care for the Prince of Egypt, and I just don't think the Book of Exodus works as a kids movie. Because it's a kids movie, it has to frame the protagonists as understandable and relatable to modern family audiences, and frame what happens in the Book of Exodus as, all fine and good in the framework of the movie, even when the good guys do some light, mass slaughter.
Even when the good guys do some.
That
Hold
10th
on.
plague, man.
Hold on. Stop.
I remember
Stop.
when we got
Stop.
to Exodus
I
in
need.
Sunday
We
school,
need to stop this right
like,
now. I have a plethora of issues with that one statement over there. Even when the good guys do some mass. First off, no good guys, barring God, does any sort of mass slaughter. And secondly, this is basically just revenge for what happened at the very beginning of the movie. Pharaoh over here thinks he's the big G, and God's like, "Oh, really? You think that?" And Pharaoh's like, "Okay, I'm going to kill all the firstborn sons of Israel." And God's like, "Oh, so you think you can do that to my chosen people, eh?" He just snaps his fingers, and all the firstborn sons of Egypt dies. Like, now what? It's like the whole point is that it is a punishment because of the arrogance of the Pharaoh.
It's a capital crime, capital punishment for capital crime.
Yeah, it's really harrowing. That much is true. But that's because the Pharaoh is a horrible and harrowing person. He's horribly evil. I mean, his own firstborn son ends up dying too because of this, and that's because of his own arrogance.
There's also the fact of he also invokes it before it happens.
Yeah,
he was also warned repeatedly. He was.
It was the last of the 7 plagues of Egypt. And Moses is like, "Please just let my people go, because if you don't, things are going to get worse." And he's like, "Bet."
Yeah, and
he's just like,
then Ramsey says, "I don't care. I should have. I'm going to finish the job." And so God says, "All right, I'm going to break your heart then."
Yeah. And all the way until the last moments of his life, the Pharaoh was just an extremely arrogant and downright horrible human being. As a matter of fact, I even remember that there's a passage somewhere that basically said that as the Pharaoh was getting swallowed up by the Dead Sea, just before it happens, no, it was the Red Sea, just before it happens, he immediately says, "I worship whatever god Moses worships." And it's like, oh, so you're not even going to say his name. You're just saying this as a final plea to save your own life. You don't actually care. You just don't want to die.
Well,
anyway,
in that case...
there was a reason why, for centuries, people compared the worst dictators to the Pharaoh in the Book of Exodus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Voldemort plays Ramesses, and this is one of my favorite performances of Ray Fiennes.
Wait, for real?
I think it's the first time I actually heard of Ray Fiennes actually in this.
Holy God, that is incredibly hilarious.
Yeah, Voldemort plays Ramses, and Mad Mardigan, and Mad Mardigan from Willow / Iceman from Top Gun plays Moses.
Yeah. Oh, also Patrick Stewart's in this as well.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart plays Pharaoh Seti. And Helen Mirren is the adopted mom of Moses, the Queen of Egypt. And Zipporah, Moses' wife, is played by Michelle Pfeiffer, aka Catwoman, and among other things.
Curious.
Oh yeah, Jeff Goldblum, the King of Ums. If you notice, when you can't unhear it when you hear it. Yeah, if you ever listen to Jeff Goldblum, he always adds an to every single line he utters. It has a very unique cadence. Once you hear it, you cannot unhear it.
That's pretty funny.
It's especially noticeable in Jurassic Park, but you notice it anywhere that he's in.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, literally.
Sarah.
Yep.
The part of the wailing and lamentations of the Egyptian women, when they woke up and there's dead children. Like, even at the age of 5, I was like, it was pretty fucked up. So my thought process here is that we take for granted
it was also pretty effed up when the mothers. It was also pretty effed up when the Jewish mothers had their sons ripped away from them and then horribly butchered and slaughtered by the Egyptian military.
Yeah,
we're going to overlook.
But we're also going to go ahead and completely gloss over the attempted genocide by Pharaoh. And the fact that the Hebrews were enslaved by him. We're just completely gloss over that and just be like, oh no, but, the angel of death visiting a bunch of kids and taking their souls as punishment for the Pharaoh continuing being a slave owner. That's evil. That's the evil bit, not the slavery. Like, you have to, in order for her take to really make any sense, you have to gloss over the fact that the Pharaoh was the Hitler before Hitler.
Yeah,
but I thought Hitler was the most evil thing of a dig ever.
Nah.
Text
The Pharaoh was first,
and they just kind of have so much informed our cultural framework. If it's with them and morality of narratives of biblical says here is that we take for granted the morality of narratives of biblical texts because we grew up with them and they just kind of have so much informed our cultural framework. If a story like this existed independent of the Bible, it would probably be considered pretty messed up. Especially considering how the movie frames it as all Pharaoh's fault because he's such a stubborn jerk.
Yes, actually, it is.
Though.
Also, it isn't even. Yeah, right over there. What is that depicting? Lindsay? What is that horrible, horrible crime that the Pharaoh's father has ordered and committed that he himself was like, yeah, that was cool. That was fine.
And then is saying, I'm going to finish the job that my dad did. So
yeah, he didn't want the Jews to escape. He wanted to hunt them down and eradicate them. Lindsay, does this remind you of someone?
Several people in history.
Upon yourself.
Like, at least in the Bible,
Yes.
God keeps hardening his
Oh,
heart.
wait. Can you please go back? I need to hear that again. What did Ramses just say over there?
No, it was a Moses.
Ramesses, you bring this upon yourself.
At least in the Bible, God keeps hardening his heart. And
That's a mistranslation. It's not God hardened his heart, it's Pharaoh hardened his heart. That's a bad mistranslation.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
And usually whenever there is mention of God hardening somebody's heart, he says, they have hardened their hearts, and so I've decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and lock it. It's like,
I would usually say that.
It's usually because the person initiated it.
My thought on it is that the only reference that I can think of God hardening somebody's heart is Pharaoh. And I think that the reasoning for that is probably because the King James translators made a mistake when Pharaoh and God are probably interchangeable in some cases.
I mean, It is true that the pharaohs did call themselves gods, like the son of Ra, the sun god.
Mm.
God damn, the
That's
English
kind of
language is really messed. Sun. It has two different spellings, two completely different meanings. Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't buy the Pharaoh heart, God hardened Pharaoh's heart. I think that's a misconception born of a mistranslation. So
The other thing is, like, in the way that the film progresses, it's really funny to me when, like, mass slaughter of children happens. Pharaoh Rafe Fiennes is weeping over the corpse
Hold
of
on,
his only
stop.
son.
It isn't.
And then
We're gonna call it a slaughter. Can we call it a slaughter? Really? I mean,
honestly,
it's a mass death, yes, but they weren't killed in the traditional
they
sense.
died. They probably
they just spontaneously died. Because, from what I understand, when an angel of death takes your soul, it's very different from a human pointing a gun and shooting you in the back of the head. Those are two completely different things.
There's
it's same end result, but the process and the way that what's left behind is very different.
There's also the comparison of they were fed to crocodiles.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
This is not equivalent.
Yeah, it's if anything, it's way more humane to just die in your sleep or just spontaneously go out than being fed to a freaking crocodile as a child.
Or even just being thrown in the Nile to drown.
Yes, one of these...
Drowning is horrible.
Yeah, one of these is definitively way more bloody than the other. And a lot more traumatic.
But
at least the Egyptian mothers get to... Huh?
But you love double standards, don't you, Lindsay? And you don't understand that it's your own people that canceled you, not the diet Nazis, as you call people like us.
Yeah, but also, like, here's something else to consider. At least the Egyptians' mothers had a body to bury. The Jewish mothers did not get to keep the body. It was their babies were thrown into a river.
Val Kill Moses morosely pieces out, and then bam, miracles.
They're rejoicing at being free.
They are literally being freed from slavery. I'm sorry.
I guess
Lindsay Ellis's take is so hilariously tone deaf on every single level. No wonder this woman got canceled.
Yeah, well, the funniest thing was she was canceled for just saying that Raya the Last Dragon is like Raya and the Last Dragon is basically Avatar: The Last Airbender light. Well, actually, not even that. She said we just need a new genre for this type of film, and then just everybody clambered on her racist audience, clambered onto her, and accused her of being contributing to Asian race hate.
Which, yeah, that's just stupid. It's like, really? So the borderline anti-Semitic take about how it's the story of Exodus is morally gray, that didn't get her canceled, but comparing some garbage tier Disney movie to Avatar: The Last Airbender, that did. Also, I haven't seen Raya and the Last Dragon, but I'm very certain it's not a good movie.
I actually really liked Noah. It's easily my favorite Darren Aronofsky movie because it leans in hard on how fucked up and traumatic it would be to have to sit back and, watch and listen while every other human on Earth dies, because God said so.
Every single time that they say it's just because God said so.
But this is also an example of me using Twitter to feel out other people's opinions before I do video content. A thing I will never do again. A lot of people were like, yeah, but this movie means a lot to me. And a lot of that is because of like my religion or my culture. And that was when I decided.
No, I just like it because it's a good effing movie.
Yeah. I mean, Prince of Egypt is like I remember watching this, I'm like, my god, we do not make animated movies like this anymore. It was like it was I think the movie kind of does the story of Exodus justice.
Yeah,
Like-
I'd like to do 10 Commandments at some point as a point of comparison between these two. I would say that this movie is better than 10 Commandments by quite a bit, but well, maybe not quite a bit, by a slim margin, maybe.
Visually speaking, I would assume that this movie is better, because if I remember correctly, 10 Commandments is a really old movie.
It is very, very old, yes.
Mm.
I get it. Yeah, there's some elements of it looks kind of cheap at points. Well, it doesn't look cheap. It looks very old. And some of the acting is kind of hammy. And also you get probably one of the most a fairly racist bit at the very beginning.
Yeah,
I still, yeah.
I was not ever going to touch this movie as a topic for a video. And in the context of this thread, I shouldn't have used the word genocide, considering it's a film about Jewish characters. And for that, I do apologize. Like, I don't think I'd be making
that's not really the issue. The issue isn't
the issue. It's just you have terrible taste and
it isn't
standards.
It's that you're using the word genocide for the wrong group of people, because one of these groups of people was definitively being genocided, if you want to use that word.
Yeah.
And it's not the Egyptians, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
About why I don't think the Prince of Egypt works, because I don't feel that strongly about it. It's not a big deal. I'm not really here for thing you like is bad actually content for its own sake. Although I love how every tweet in this thread has trigger warnings. Trigger warning. She didn't like the Prince of Egypt. Next.
I'm sorry. So remind me again. Were we over here to watch freaking Prince of Egypt?
Yeah, true. I just thought that it was funny. But yeah,
even Tripp's calling us out on it.
Let me but yeah, I gotta show this to you guys because I think that you guys would think that it is rather amusing. So
Moses conquers Ethiopia.
Yeah.
10 What?
So
that never happened, did it? I'm pretty sure that the story goes that they immediately booked it for the Promised Land.
This is at the beginning of the movie when he's still Prince of Pharaoh.
Oh.
But it's but yeah, if you take a look at it, this is probably one of the most racist. This is like one of the most weirdly racist things I've ever seen.
Okay, let's see it.
Let me.
I can hear it. I can't see it. The frame rate is bad.
Command what you have conquered, my brother. I bring the Ethiopian king and his sister in friendship.
Yeah, it's mainly the costume, but then you get this.
I can't see it. Frame rate just. Bro, what happened to the quality?
I don't know. But yeah, it's just the casual racism is. I don't know why, but I find it very amusing.
I don't think that's how ancient Ethiopians would have dressed.
I have to be honest though, the costumes do look kind of garish. I would
Yeah.
say.
I wouldn't call. I wouldn't call it racist. I would just call it
Historically
strange.
inaccurate.
Yeah, very historically inaccurate and
Yes.
strange.
All right.
Anyways, on with the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, let's watch.
All right. Let me. Okay, let me. I don't get to move around. Okay, let me try something. Let me just try something since I want to. Let's see. It's not on Flixtor for some reason. Let me look around. Ah, here we go. All right, now this works. All right. All right, now I think we're good. All right, and this will work. Oh.
God, this theme. God damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A very pleasantly heavenly team.
No, yeah. Don't we need like a movie theater link to actually watch the movie?
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, it's in there. Let me drop it. All right, just dropped. I didn't understand this when I first watched. I thought this was sand. I didn't realize it
It's
was
clouds.
like clouds. Yeah, and I love this scale. I love this. The scale of this is really impressive.
You know, children movies really need some ads back and put into them.
I'm sorry, this is already pretty great.
Yeah, this movie is so awesome.
DreamWorks friggin'
This is
cooked
DreamWorks'
with
first
this one.
Yeah, and this is the first one as well.
Yeah, this was one of their first. One thing that's interesting is this Egyptian slave helping this old Hebrew man before the Egyptian pushes him around.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just love the scale of this film. The scale is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they definitely give you the feeling of grandeur.
That's dark.
That is insanely dark. Holy crap.
And it just
Almost a
walks
2001.
out. You don't need to show anything.
You
but
just
Yeah.
freaking that is dark.
When was this? 2001.
That
So Lindsay, still think this is a morally gray story?
Yes, of course, it is morally gray to the fullest. Totally.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah,
don't
that's-
still think that maybe the friggin' Pharaoh had this coming.
admittedly, this is the son of said pharaoh, but he's planning on repeating the sins of his dad.
He straight up did not learn from any of it at all.
Quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave was going to cut you an arm and a leg this time.
Can we also take a moment to appreciate the sheer desperation Moses' mother must have had?
Oh.
Like,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
the Egyptian military is going around murdering all the newborn babies. Holy crap, if I hold on to him, they'll find me and then they'll murder him. What's the best thing I could possibly do?
I will admit this part's a little goofy.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely very comical.
Yeah. I mean, it's
But
serious,
it
don't
is-
get me wrong, it's serious, but...
It's like, how does he
feels a little bit-
survive?
Sorry?
It's like, how does this baby live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how does he not suffer severe brain damage?
Maybe it's using the same kind of technology as Krypton used.
Yeah.
I mean, Superman is...
Yeah, Superman's basically Super Moses.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people say he's a Christ allegory, but more he's a Moses allegory more than anything else.
Yeah.
Let's see. He's the remnants of a dying people. He was sent. Why is he looking at her like that?
He's a baby. Mommy, do you hear someone singing?
Yeah, there's some neat little stuff. I think in I think it might be in the Apocrypha somewhere, or some kind of record that, at least in quite a few different versions of this, like Ten Commandments and the New Testament, one of the Moses series on Netflix, it shows that the princess is actually the daughter of Pharaoh, and that Ramesses is not Moses' brother, but rather his nephew, or but rather his cousin, I mean.
Hmm.
And the reason why he's taken by the princess is because she died without a child. Her husband died without a child, and or her child miscarried, and that Moses was the rebalancing of the scales by the gods, or something like that.
Oh my god, I just realized it's red versus blue. I just realized that.
Yeah. I love that
You
they're
just
basically just
go-
recklessly driving.
Yeah, it just wait a second. So would that mean that chariots were basically just the ancient equivalent of Ferraris?
Basically, yeah.
Maybe.
I would say yeah, definitely. They
Especially
were the only people that could afford to be on a chariot were the nobility.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so funny.
Ain't much for a view.
As an older brother, I can in fact confirm this is the kind of banter that we usually have.
But you and your brother at least like each other.
Well, yeah, of course of course.
Okay, good. That's the
I mean-
important part.
Oh,
I mean,
Oh dear.
oh,
Ah,
well,
Pharaoh's nose got busted.
Ouch.
no, that's a sphinx actually.
Ah, then the Sphinx nose got busted.
You know, again.
Yeah, how many slaves died because of that?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this bit is actually like legitimately funny and entertaining. Dead.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Those priests should be dead.
yeah. They're gone. They're done.
Well, anything is possible.
Dramatic irony.
What a great shot, by the way.
That is a really good shot. Yeah, that just looks so great. And this moment is great because it fundamentally shapes Ramesses as a character going forward.
Yeah,
He was groomed to be like that.
Yeah.
that's actually something quite impressive about the movie. It actually goes out of its way to show you exactly what about his upbringing. Well, God damn it, film! Can you stop distracting me with all these great shots?
Yeah.
Can you stop being visually impressive, movie, for 5 seconds?
No. No. Well,
I'm trying to talk about the character writing over here.
That's why I say this is one of the greatest movies ever made. It's better than 10 Commandments.
Absolutely.
It's a neat little touch that he's whistling the song as he comes. Which is funny because Moses is going to destroy the pyramids more than Ramesses does.
What?
Hmm.
Well, that explains it.
It just goes.
Fuck it. Oh shit.
How could we have been late for the banquet?
I'm afraid my face will end up hurting too much if I smile some more. If this movie makes me smile anymore. Please stop being funny.
That's.
Ah.
Oh. There are a lot of...
And his mom just looks at him just like, oh, my son. Are you qualified for that? That job?
Well,
Probably not. It is going to be interesting to compare Prince of Egypt to Ten Commandments because Ten Commandments Egypt is Ten Commandments Moses is very, very different.
bro,
Yeah,
there's a lot to be said about how horrible this situation is for this poor lady.
she even ties up the she even ties up
the dogs.
One thing I do like about this movie, as opposed to Ten Commandments, is that they actually kind of set up the romance a little bit earlier, or at least set up a connection earlier.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a lot more visual storytelling in this movie because they don't have as much time for dialogue as something like Ten Commandments, which is like 4 hours long, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she knows that he totally saw her.
Mm. Yeah,
Well,
Ten Commandments is 3 hours and 40 minutes. Hello, Sandra Bullock. That is a classic line. Miriam, do you want us flogged?
Oh, sorry, what was the line?
Miriam, do you want to get us flogged? Do you want us flogged?
Oh shit.
Damn.
It was what he knew. He was a slave.
I love the mirroring of the shot really well. That's a really good mirroring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has an existential crisis.
Yes.
I love how it goes from cramped in the slave slave area of Goshen to vast and expansive.
Yeah.
There's some neat visual storytelling. It still looks good. This still looks great.
It does look fantastic.
Still? Was it ever in doubt?
Well, if we take a admittedly, this is on a scale of animation with something like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, Belgium singing. Yeah.
I actually like the song. This actually is a good song. He's actually not bad.
Yeah, it's just Val Kilmer isn't really a singer, is he? He's trying.
Know if this is. I don't know if this is. Is this him singing? I don't.
Maybe, I don't know.
You wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if they got a different guy to do the singing.
Yeah.
It's since it doesn't. No, it's a guy named Amic Briam was Moses' singing voice. Alcomer did not sing it himself.
That makes sense. Is it often very expected of voice actor to actually? It's very rare that you will find a voice actor who's also a singer.
Yeah, a lot of them were like Disney stuff because they used to work on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
It was really funny that in Quest for Camelot, the only person who didn't get a replacement to do the singing for him was Gary Oldman, who arguably has the worst song in the movie, even though I will listen to it at any point because it's catchy. Also, this style is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really.
Reminds me of a stop motion religious film I've seen as a kid.
Yeah, and it's so creative.
It's like, hey, you know the style of the hieroglyphics? Yeah? Let's use that for dream sequences.
Brilliant!
And it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, animation today, it's not as creative.
No, certainly isn't.
What was the last animated movie we can think of that was released?
This is so dark. That is incredibly dark. Like just the visual imagery of the babies being flung to the crocodiles and the red trickling up. That is impressively dark.
And all without showing a single ounce of gore.
Yeah.
Or babies being eaten.
Not yet.
They managed to communicate the sheer horror and brutality of this without showing. That's. Holy crap, the shadow.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
Some sacrifices are just too great to make. It cannot even be justified, for that matter.
Well, it's a matter of.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were only slaves. They just cannot take it. That's some great dialogue and great delivery from Patrick Stewart. It's his last line in the film, but it says so much.
Yeah. How was that? How was that a reassuring line, though? They were only slaves.
It's kind of interesting that in the soundtrack, this is paired with "All I Ever Wanted." Like the song, if you listen to the soundtrack, this is the same track, maybe just to conserve space, but it's because it's so short. But it's sandwiched into one singular track. It's a neat little thing there.
Man, this movie is surprisingly fast-paced, all things considered.
And this is particularly poignant because Moses is directly responsible for this extra work.
Yeah. No. Oh my god, yeah, you're right. He's the new architect.
And this all this work is the damage he did.
Yeah.
If you notice, this is the sand that he.
Yeah. Man, Mage Moses feeling the consequences of his actions now.
Yep.
Oh, that was all reckless and destructive, and that resulted in people having to clean up my mess. People that I just realized recently were people.
Yeah,
Ouch.
that's actually like a legit. Mr. Replica Films, are you so sure that slavery wasn't so bad?
That was a thing he said, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was a moron.
More than a moron.
That old man is going to get punished.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Probably executed.
Oh. That.
It's... Damn.
That is really dark, honestly.
That's,
Well, that's poignant, I mean.
It's, yeah, very on point. I just love that Ramses just doesn't look like he looks like he doesn't even care about the truth or not. He just wants his bro with him, which can't blame him. I do have to wonder, what was his plan, though? Was he just going to
Just say never happened. He's royalty.
Just run away aimlessly through the desert?
Oh, that too, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Go
There's
and
also
find
still-
Jesus or something.
Well, Jesus isn't alive yet. He hasn't been born.
Okay, go find
Oh.
a divine prophecy.
Just find God.
Well, that's kind of the interesting thing is that in one of the things that we believe based on the I am that I am thing is And Christ comments in the New Testament that Christ is actually Yahweh.
Yeah.
And that Christ is the person talking, the premortal Christ is talking on behalf of God the Father to Moses. That is at least in the burning bush. But shown on a few other occasions. There's one occasion when God himself shows himself and talks to him, but a lot of the time through the Old Testament, it's Christ talking to his prophets.
Bruh.
It's like,
bro, that's a big yikes right there.
It's
Here, have a bit of refreshment.
The close proximity between this happening and the event earlier where we're introduced to this what's her name anyway?
Zipporah.
Yeah, it makes this reunion a lot more believable.
So Jesus transferring bush. I was thinking more along the lines of the burning bush is a celestial telephone, but that works, I suppose.
Move.
And then he died. The end.
I think you're not giving him enough credit.
Dun dun dun.
Man, what? Why is that just such the wittiest piece of dialogue I've heard? And that's why she'll never get married.
Yeah.
They say in response to her dunking her future husband in a well.
Yeah.
Your father's insane.
Not really sure where this ancient civilization would have been located on the map. Pretty sure it's in Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that. Modern Saudi Arabia. I also think I heard Syrian, but
And that's the first one where she realizes, oh, he's not a dick after all.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly the second best song in this whole film by far.
Yeah, I really like this song. The best is, of course, The Plagues.
Mhm.
Deliver Us is a very, very close second. Hmm.
That's actually a very good message, all things considered.
Hmm.
I would agree.
It's like, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. How the heck, just because things seem pointless and meaningless right now, doesn't actually mean that's the case. You gotta step back and look at the full picture.
That is such a waste of water.
Yeah, bro, you gotta. I sure hope water's plentiful where they are.
Oh.
I love how we're all just silent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
there's
this
much to
is
say, it's just
excellent visual storytelling.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this film does very efficiently what Ten Commandments needs a large amount of dialogue to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. In the span of a single song sequence, we basically get his entire life story from that point on.
Yeah. The economy of storytelling on display here is really, really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
This story is also really short. It's less than half of the length of Ten Commandments, and it tells most of the same story. The only major omissions is the golden calf and the Ten Commandments, and then the death of Moses at the end. Those are the main omissions that this film does not go into.
Yeah. Well, wait a second. Is all of that a separate book, or is that also in the Book of Exodus?
No, the golden calf is still in the Book of Exodus.
Ah.
It's when you get into it's Deuteronomy, I think, that you get into stuff like the golden the brazen serpent and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, let me.
You know something funny? One of my teachers at my school district managed to get approval to basically have a class where they go over the Bible as a piece of literature.
We actually had that the same in our school.
Yeah.
Although we did read a abridged version.
I actually wanted to take the class because, well, I mean, I might not be Christian, but I still view it. I still essentially view Christianity as the predecessor to what we are now, and understanding our story also requires understanding what came before, who came before us, and what they told themselves.
I love this. See, he's all happy with his wife and sheep, but no, he's got. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Yeah, I really like the effect that they decided to go with for the the burning bush in this film.
The fact that the fire is blue rather than red
this is
really
the best.
leans into the ethereal. It really leans into the ethereal nature of it.
Hmm. I think it's also a
something
clever
neat is
idea that they actually had Moses and being the same voice as God exactly.
Yeah, that was a very clever choice.
I can see that Valkymer is God.
Yeah, this is one of the evidences that I point to where Christ says in the New Testament, before Abraham was, I am. And then and just as God says here, I am that I am.
Mm-hmm.
So
Also, the nice little detail that I like about this is that he tells him to take off his sandals because he's standing on holy ground. That's a tradition that we have whenever we enter a mosque. Whenever we enter the prayer area, we're not supposed to have our shoes on. Socks are all right, but the shoes is a no-go.
Are they holy socks?
No, just regular socks.
aliens. It was aliens. Well, or peyote.
Imagine if it was actually a weed bush that was burning.
Well, I was actually Egyptians at that time.
The interesting thing is that the bush actually gets more vibrant with the as opposed to burning up, which is actually a neat touch. I never noticed that before.
Mm-hmm.
And it cuts the sanguinary God.
You shall become the herald of my wrath.
Indeed.
I mean,
Yeah, basically.
literally.
Peyote. Definitely peyote. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, like it was a wasted bush, like dried up bush, and now it's extremely vibrant. That's actually a neat
Yeah, it's
little
been
touch.
revived.
Yeah. And it still
Which,
brings
you
back
know.
it still brings back the land. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like that little detail with the bush coming back to life. Really lends to credibility of just the miraculous encounter he just had.
Yeah. And I love how this is actually a whole scene with dialogue in the in Ten Commandments, but it's told completely visually in this. And you just see as she's doing slowly sit down.
Yeah.
And so they journeyed to the eye of the world.
Oh. Yeah, damn. The fact that you can see all the scars on their backs from the whipping and the lashing.
Yeah.
And the band-aids.
And that's a small child.
Mm. Yeah, you're definitely right. This is a very economical movie. And also the sheer contrast between the palace and the sheer contrast between the palace and the slave pits, essentially, in the ghetto that they've been forced to live in. It's definitely incredible.
Go back to and cave, and then they go wander through the desert for 40 years. That was their fault. That was their fault.
I mean, yeah, they decided to worship the freaking golden cow instead of, the god that saved them.
Well, actually, the interesting thing is that if you look at the golden calf thing, they are technically worshiping the God of Israel, but the problem is they're making a graven image that is representative of him. Like if you read the words in it's Exodus 26, I believe. I could be wrong. I don't remember the exact chapters in the Bible. But they said, "Here be thy gods, O Israel, who led you out of Egypt." So it's supposed to represent.
It's idolatry now.
Yeah,
they've
so
basically created an idol in the image of a golden cow that is meant to be representative of God, which, from my understanding, that's pretty much blasphemy.
Yeah, it is definitely, but it's a little bit. It's an interesting, nuanced conversation. Oh, come on, where it's Elohim is often depicted as a bull, and the calf could be representative of Christ. If you kind of go with the idea that, everything in the Old Testament is a type and shadow of the coming of Christ. So let me see. Hopefully I can get this to work. Christ on the cross. Yeah, that's one of the that's one of the contradictions in Catholicism that a lot of people, especially the Greek Orthodox Church, really hated. Like that was one of their major problems with the Catholic Church was idolatry. That's a problem with Catholicism, not Christianity in general.
I mean, technically right now, me watching this movie is an act of heresy. Because the fact that it depicts Musa alayhi salam at all is already mega heresy. And the reason for it is exactly as you described. It's because of the potential of idolatry. However, it is also a banger movie.
I am sure God can forgive you for watching this movie.
I mean, he's forgiven me for a lot of things at this point. Like, this is probably the least bad thing he's forgiven me for. Oh man, these guys are just so petty.
Yeah, he is so drunk his own Kool-Aid.
Pretty much.
I mean, can you blame him for drinking his own Kool-Aid? He was practically raised to be this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also like the relationship between Moses and Ramses in this movie more than I like it in Ten Commandments.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's mostly because this movie definitely portrays them as brotherly.
I reject your princehood.
Um,
Well,
I just pause it
shit.
and give it
pausing the movie to let it buffer.
give it a second.
Bitch, hold my stick.
They also do something really clever with this in terms of the snake transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Where
can we pause for a moment? Can we just take a moment to appreciate the sheer insanity and delusion of Ramses to watch a whole ass stick transform into an actual snake in front of him and then be like, nah, your god ain't real. You're telling me that your god? Nah, I don't
There
believe
may be a
you.
reason for
well,
Nah,
well the funny
that.
thing,
that snake is just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah,
Well, that's
that real ass snake that just hissed at me. That's not
What's
real.
ironic?
You're playing with me.
It's ironic you say
that
that.
was, admittedly, there was a thing where the Egyptian mystics would try to replicate a lot of what is it? A lot of Moses's a lot of the
Miracles.
plagues. Yeah, such
Yeah.
as this one. And you can kind of say, oh, the devil may have given them power to do it, or it could just be that they're smoke and mirrors guys.
Yeah,
Which
as
is
far
what this goes with.
yeah, if I remember this version of the story correctly, it was a competition where the mages essentially challenged him, and they basically threw their sticks into the water. And it's like, oh, the distortion and ripples made it look like snakes, and then Moses throws the staff into the water, and it turns into an actual snake and eats the two sticks, or eats the other sticks, and they're like, oh no, that's not how it's supposed to. That's not normal at all. No, if what this guy is saying is true, then oh no.
Hmm. This is the least good song in the movie.
I love if I have to say the least good instead of saying the worst.
I still like this song.
I mean, the point.
It's catchy.
Yeah, the point of what I was just saying there is like you've basically just tacitly stated that there is no bad song in this movie.
Yeah, this movie is pretty much as close to perfect as you can get.
It's kind of like Stardust, only animated.
Hmm. Yeah, I concur with that.
I'm kind of
Okay.
impressed by the amount of research they had to do into Egyptian mythology.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's also something else I appreciate. It's that, you didn't just do generic stuff for them. It's like you actually went out of your way to learn about what these people believed, to contrast it against what the Hebrews believed.
Mm-hmm.
They had
These
ancient Egyptians had quite a lot of gods that they worshipped.
Oh yeah, they had a god for everything. They had 2 gods of the night, and they even have multiple gods for the same thing some of the time.
Yeah. Actually, did you know that the ancient Romans had a god for door hinges?
Let's see if this.
What?
That's
Oh yeah, the
that's
Romans
not a
had
joke.
They had multiple war gods as well. They had Mars and Mithras. Though Mithras kind of died in popularity.
I mean that's kind of like the ancient Greeks as well. They had both Athena and Ares, but that's because the Romans are just Greeks, but based. Fight me.
Well, I think that I guess they also Mithras isn't the version of Athena. It's just a lion-headed god.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Good. Okay, I think that we fixed it. Oh, come on!
Oh wow. Well. Honestly, at some point, we just have to stop and let the whole thing. I'm sorry, my brain is getting overstimulated.
When is it not?
Respect.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this one is they just say they don't show them transforming the sticks into snakes.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a flash of light and they come out with snakes. And they're different kinds of cobras as well.
Horus?
Not that horse. Not that horse.
Slay the arch traitor for the Emperor!
And then as a sign, It just eats the snakes.
Yeah. So, turns out that these two guys played with the big boy and
Lost.
found out.
Also, if you look at, there's actually a lot of slave iconography.
Hmm.
Like, if you notice, there's a lot of captives and stuff, probably depicting Kadesh. Since supposedly this was Ramesses II.
Mm-hmm.
I love the contrast too. Ramesses is looking up and doesn't even see it, and then he goes, and then Moses is looking downward.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even consider slaves as people.
Oh,
Well, that's usually how slavers viewed it. Yeah.
well, we actually have a guy in the back chat. Let me bring him on. Let me see.
All right, let's pause the movie first.
Yeah, this will give us some time. Yeah, let me get a suitable entrance. Oh, I think I've got it.
This cannot be.
What a great movie. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, you're coming through.
There.
Fine. Excellent.
Oh,
Great entrance.
hello.
Thank
What's
you
up,
very much.
BK?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
B-
Easily my favorite Van Helsing movie.
Hmm.
They don't make them like that anymore.
Agreed. They don't make him like that anymore.
They don't
And
let Dracula have fun. They don't make him like a ridiculous rock star goth weirdo like they did in that one. That was the way to do it.
and I just dropped the StreamYard link for the movie so we can so that you can watch. So
Let's have a look here. I've seen the whole thing.
okay, good. All right. So okay, yeah. Just when you're ready, just pop in. Up in. Okay. Okay, that was a good one. Oh, that's funny. You thought I was gonna give him the sausages one?
Please no.
I love how that's the immediate reaction.
What you?
Okay, there we go. Ooh,
Bruh.
this
He held on to it.
yeah, he did. Also, the subtle facial expressions on Ramesses' face as this goes,
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, just the subtle bits of animation there are really impressive.
Mm-hmm. Hey, called back to earlier in the movie, and in the same exact room too.
Yeah. I also like
Bruh.
this. I also like the simple. I also like the simple thing where instead of saying they will make bricks without straw, which I don't know if modern audiences would necessarily get how difficult that would be, how much harder that would be. So I just think that the simplifying it actually kind of makes it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that at this point, this from the point of the magicians onward, the story's kind of different. I think it takes up until roundabout when they try to escape through the Red Sea that the Islamic version of the story agrees with the Christian version. Because if I remember correctly, the Islamic version has it that as soon as like the whole magician fiasco happens, the magicians in front of everybody, including the pharaoh, immediately converts to believing in the God of that Moses is presenting, and that creates havoc. Also, the magicians get executed for
I can imagine.
blaspheming. Yeah. It's also in this commotion that the Hebrews escape.
Okay, so they're kind of, it's a more, I guess, rational-esque version, less bombastic. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough assessment.
Yeah, I would be interested to watch the Battles BC series with you guys. It would be interesting to see, since one of the things they actually decided to do was they don't buy that the Red Sea actually happened. So what they do is they say, oh, it was just, they got to a point where the Red Sea was super shallow, waited for the right time of day, got across it, and then escaped that way when the tide rose. So,
which still rather miraculous. Even in that case, it's rather miraculous that it just so happened that the tide was low enough for them to escape when it happened.
Well, the idea that Moses had been in the area for so long that he knew the terrain and knew the timing of things. So
that
it was like a seasonal thing.
Oh.
Yeah, you could not get away with this.
Oh no! There's so much about that. That is horrifying. It's like, hey, remember all the kids that you killed inside the same exact river?
There's also a neat thing of each of the plagues is meant to be Jehovah / Elohim destroying the Egyptian pantheon one after another.
Oh yeah, that too.
Like, yeah, this is specifically trouncing the god of the Nile. Then eventually it's the god of the frogs, killing the cattle, which is Hathor.
Bro, I just love this freaking self-gaslighting over here, by the way, on Ramsey's part. He's like, bro, he turned the river to blood, and you think...
Yeah, another thing about the Nile, that's also the drinking water as well.
It wasn't the cool thing was it wasn't just the Nile; it was all the drinking water that the Egyptians drank, and even in stuff in pitchers.
Oh, that was even more harrowing.
Yeah, they were trying to dig wells and find water, and they were, because of how desperate they were. Even like the Pharaoh, like the Pharaoh's bath would have like the pool, one of the pools in the royal in the royal palace turning to blood. Oh, I love this song. This is the best song in the movie.
How long do you think that took to animate with the frogs?
Oh, it must have taken a long time.
Mm.
And the cattle just all drop dead. And then you have lice. They would have been terrified because a lot of most of the Egyptian men would shave their heads because they were very clean people, and they would shave their heads and wear a wig. Egyptian women would also like cut their hair very short and wear wigs.
Damn.
And Hail is, I think it was Horus, it was the weather god. I can't remember. And it's interesting that you see the comparison between Seti's monument and Ramesses' monument. There's a decided size difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then
correlating with the ego of the person who had it built.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then the bowls where they and you see they're just trying their best and just it's so one thing I do like actually go with the alternative translation where it's Pharaoh hardens his own heart.
Yeah.
Which I think is the better translation, to be perfectly honest.
It's definitely more. It definitely is more sensible.
Yeah. Since if it just says God hardened his heart, that doesn't make any sense. It's God being counterproductive.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I just have to remind you, Lindsay Ellis saw all of this and thought that Ramses was kind of in the right.
I don't know if in the right is necessarily, but it's like she blames Moses for
all
God
of this. Yeah,
for God deciding to. Wow, that's so neat. That it's actually interesting that Seti's statue that got destroyed as opposed to the Moses' adopted mom.
Mm-hmm. Hey, remember this? Remember the scene in the same exact location at the beginning of the movie and the conversation between the two?
Just that little bit of him sitting there almost still, except for his breathing, is so telling. That conveys so much with very little. Sure. I love this bit.
You can kind of see he wants to give in, but it's just, well, his son's right there.
Mm-hmm. There's just a level of pride and arrogance on his part.
That too, yeah.
Also, the fact that he makes the sun go dark is basically a dab on Ra.
Mm-hmm.
And then the death of the firstborn is to go right at the heart of Pharaoh. Any man who must say, "I am the king," is no true king.
Damn. That hits. That's pretty hard, no?
Tywin Lannister, best lines in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Oh no! Oh no! He's going final solution on their ass. Oh,
yeah. Lindsay Ellis, you were saying?
bro. Oh, the foreshadowing.
Lindsay?
Oh my god, that's such a great scene. The freaking interactions over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Lindsay Ellis. I think it's fair to say that you're an unobservant bint.
Very.
This could have been avoided if he wasn't a slave owner, if he didn't want to hold on to his slaves.
Also,
could have
this
stopped at
man
any time.
the man very loudly announced his intention for wholesale slaughter.
Yep. Yeah, there's kind of a neat analogy that in the Bible, because there's actually stages that they go through. One analogy that I had was that I found that actually really stood out was that the Exodus story isn't just a terrible tale of liberation. We can actually see ourselves in Pharaoh somewhat, where the Israelites are representative of us. Pharaoh not letting go of the Israelites is representative of us not being unwilling to let go of our sins.
Well,
Where
that is certainly an interpretation.
Yeah, where it's slow, where initially there's like no, and then Pharaoh goes, "Okay, I'll let you go a little bit, but you have your animals stay here, or you have your kids stay here."
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking
and then
horrifying.
eventually, finally,
that driver there is like you see the kid inhaling, and then he stops.
Oh, and snuffing of the candle. Ugh.
Yeah. And then the kid just falls.
It's also very silent, if you noticed.
Yeah.
Only the wind
Yeah.
blowing.
Yeah, it's extremely ethereal.
Yeah, this film definitely does not portray this as anything less than what it is. This is Malike moved going around knocking on every single, not even knocking, just casually strolling by and plucking out souls as he does.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if is it the Angels of Death or is it God directly?
Based on my understanding, it said that there's a couple of translations. There's let me actually pull it up. Pull the exact verse up. I think it's often touted as the let me see. So what's it? Okay, so Oh, and the interesting thing is, it was everything. So it said the Lord slew all the firstborn and all the firstborn of beasts as well.
Oh. Also, this really does. You can also take a moment to appreciate how much this says about Pharaoh as a person. That it takes the death of his kid for him to let them be free. And also this moment over here where Moses breaks down and he starts weeping.
Mm-hmm.
He did not want to do this.
No, he didn't do anything. He didn't want any of this to happen.
He's a herald, essentially.
Yeah, he's letting him know, bro, this is what's going to happen. Please release them, and none of this happens.
Yeah, this part's a bit
okay. So
goofy.
it just yeah. So it actually says that the Lord smote all the firstborn of the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne, unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of cattle. And there was not a house where there was not one dead.
Damn.
So I'd say that this is the second weakest song in the film.
And let's be frank, the real reason for it is because of the scene that just came before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, rejoicing, understandable. They are no longer slaves, but considering the event that just happened prior, tonally speaking, the audience is still swallowing the fact that all the firstborn kids of animals and people were just killed. They just no longer are breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what a flex to pull. Like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna snap my fingers, and this one specific group of people are now dead.
Yeah. And it just says at midnight exactly, all of them died. So it's like the darkest point of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, you just see all of these ruins. The funny thing is, a lot of Egyptians actually did go with the
Hebrews.
The Hebrews. Yeah, a lot of them left. There actually was a whole thing where there's a verse that's talked about, and the Hebrews plundered the riches of Egypt, and as compensation, I guess, and departed into the wilderness. Likely that was where they got a lot of the weapons that they used to go into Canaan and start their conquest. another option is that it's been theorized that the Hebrews were actually the Hamaru, which were basically mercenary soldiers for Egypt that eventually got put into construction duty because they were worried about their foreign mercenaries taking over the country.
Yeah, that's
So,
definitely a theory.
yeah, I don't know how valid it is, but it's interesting at least.
Mm-hmm.
It would explain how they were so proficient in warfare once they got to Canaan.
Also, there's something to be said, by the way, on Pharaoh's part with self-fulfilling prophecies. His greatest concern, the shadow that haunts him, is being the weak link that causes the empire to collapse. And yet, because he was so worried and obsessive about trying to prevent exactly that from happening, well, he made it so.
Ooh, one thing that I do want to point out is just how beautiful the water effects are. Just neat little thing where they have the actual shofar or the horns.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Even the army scaling is great. I imagine that they took a lot of these effects from Lion King's Wildebeest Stampede. At least a lot of the tech.
Mm-hmm. Actually, was it DreamWorks formed from a bunch of former Disney animators?
Yes, actually, as well as Disney executives like Jeffrey Katzenberg, who is kind of a bit of a cartoon human in a lot of ways. If you look at his story,
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like he.
I'm sorry. Can you imagine being there and seeing that?
Yeah, it would be like, are you nuts? We're going up against that. And also just the bit where they try to race it is and it just
imagine,
skirts right around it. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's like, just imagine being in that Egyptian army and seeing, and then all of a sudden a fire tornado appears and blocks the path. It's like, guys, I think there might be something to this Moses guy. I think he might be onto something.
I will now devote my life to God, the God that.
I think he's kind of already done that. Oh, this bit is possibly the most impressive bit of animation in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh my god, look at that.
From a distance, you could almost feel like the water is real.
Huh?
Yeah.
It almost looks real.
Yeah.
Where is animation today that brings you this kind of detail?
Yeah.
Again, I have to reiterate. Could you imagine being there?
Yeah. And also the fact that they're going so deep into just how high the waters are. And yeah, it's neat that you see Egyptian dressed people doing it.
Yep. You just see Egyptians going with them because it's like, well, our pharaoh is a piece of garbage. He let all of this happen.
And then this bit.
Mm-hmm.
This bit is really impressive, where you see the whale on the other side, and you just get a sense of scale.
Yeah,
Of
just how far in they are.
And also just how they, like, the little bits of mountain and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty harsh, yes.
I'm sorry. I just need to take a moment to do. How does the pharaoh see all this, and he still wants to go in for it? This guy's completely crazy, outright delusional.
That is actually kind of accurate. That Egyptian chariots were actually specifically
Fragile.
a lot lighter than most other cavalry chariots of that era. The main innovation to chariots was actually by the Hittites. And the entire Egyptian military dies.
Just gets wiped out.
Which I think if you go with that idea, it's probably, this is, if you go, kind of just if we were looking at it from a narrative perspective, having the Egyptian military, which at the time was the most powerful military at the time, wiped out, allowed Israel to actually
Allowed them
have a
to.
chance.
Yeah.
And you could also say that the 40 years in the wilderness were time for the old them to build up their forces and actually train and get ready for the inevitable conquest of Canaan, which, as described in the Bible, is pretty brutal. There was I think at least, I know for sure Jericho was a full unit, full city level annihilation. Everything was basically Genghis Khan levels of city extermination.
Damn.
I think also the city of Ai was pretty well destroyed. And then the Hittites and Midianites were also very, very heavily destroyed, pretty solidly nuked.
Look, I want to make a politically incorrect statement that is also a modern commentary, but I'm just going to refrain from it because it's really, really easy for me to do, and holy crap, the level of controversy.
Oh, go for it. We love controversy here.
Leave it to the Israelis to go from being persecuted in one place to genocidal in another.
Unfortunately, not inaccurate.
I'm just saying, it seems to be a bit of a trend with these people. They really seem to just get really heavily traumatized and then take it out on somebody else. Look, all I'm saying is the people of Canaan seem to be catching a stray or two. Anyway, that's the craziest thing I've said all day, and that's the craziest thing I'm gonna say all day.
And the movie decides to stop before the Ten Commandments and the golden calf. Well,
And
it stops on the Ten Commandments, I guess.
mhm. Which, very
These fancy
fairly
stones that I
iconic.
found.
Yep.
It's like, ignore the golden calf in the background. What? Nothing.
Should we tell the story? Nah, we haven't got the wrong time for that.
Let's just leave it over here. Just leave it on the high note.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. You
Just gotta leave it on, on that last note over there.
That was really unnecessary.
That is a great movie.
It was very beautiful indeed.
Very visually impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Just about there's a lot to be impressed with by this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But this is kind of where I'm coming from with kind of the golden calf
These
thing.
are followers with no leader to follow. And we need something.
Oh, and wait,
So,
I
Aaron says to
have
them in
to
verse 2.
get to work
Okay, fine.
tomorrow,
I'll break off the golden
so
earrings, which are in the ears of your wife.
Go off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for it.
Good night.
All right.
So of your sons, of your daughters, and bring them unto me. Now there's immediate actions in here. Israelite thing out.
Yeah, let me
They are trying to credit the true God of Israel. Out, and we'll see in just a moment the invocation of Jehovah. Gods in Hebrew, the molten golden calf. So let's make our own. Because
either way,
back in
guys,
Egypt, that's all we
I
had.
got
A god of the Nile, and a god of frogs, and a god of
Yeah.
bulls, and a god of everything
See you
else.
guys
So let's make
later.
our own. And we like
So,
the
yeah.
bull idea. So let's make a young one, and we'll make it a molten golden calf. Well, actually, what's interesting, even the way they phrased it, these be thy gods in Hebrew, these be thy Elohim, O Israel. And we'll see in just a moment the invocation of Jehovah right alongside it. So some scholars have pointed out, perhaps that's not pagan gods that they are trying to credit. They are trying to credit the true God of Israel. He's the one that brought us out of the land of Egypt. And we are using sacrificial animals as proxy in some ways. We talk about the lamb without blemish, the ram that took Isaac's spot. Well, here is a bull, even stronger, mightier. Elohim is sometimes pictured as a bull. And if Jehovah is the Son of God, then a calf? Is this a representation of the true God? It's possible. And in fact, according to some of the surrounding nations, the belief was that the true God, their gods, rode upon the backs of wild animals or domesticated animals, upon the back of lions or the back of bulls. And so maybe this golden calf isn't even meant to be God, but rather God will ride upon it. I mean, the cherubim on the lid of the Ark of the Covenant, there's the throne of God, and he would sit there upon it. So is Aaron doing the best he can? Are the people not utter pagans, but children and needing something more, again, tangible, visible to focus their faith? Interesting.
Well, that's definitely an interesting theory to think upon.
Yeah, there's a lot of neat stuff. But yeah, I love that movie. The Prince of Egypt is. I'd be interested to compare it to the Ten Commandments and Exodus, Gods and Kings. Evidently, Exodus, Gods and Kings is kind of bad.
Oh yeah. Like I've basically just accepted that pretty much any live action movie covering the ancient Egyptians is going to be bad. A priori.
Well, I think that this was a while ago, actually. Let me see. Exodus.
Aspiring, you have been completely quiet this whole time.
Wow. This came
Literally
out in 2014. It came out in 2014. It's also free on Tubi, funnily enough. And it's got Lars Owens or Owen Lars from Star Wars as Ramses. It's got Batman as Moses. It's got John Turturro as Seti the First. It's got Jesse Pinkman as Joshua.
My God. All right. Well, that's quite a cast.
Yeah, it's got Ridley Scott directing, but this movie has the distinct honor of being one of 3 movies that my sister, who doesn't necessarily have high standards, walked out of.
Ouch.
And my
Quite
sister
a
likes
dubious honor.
Yeah, my sister likes a lot of Marvel movies, to give you an example. And like Marvel Phase 4 movies, and she walked out of this one and The Flash. So those are the only 2 movies that my sister has ever walked out of that I am aware of. So that's some pretty interesting company.
Very.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, it's a great movie. The characters are great. The animation is still gorgeous to this day and has such a sense of incredible scale that I don't think that any other film has quite matched. Lion King comes close, but I still think that this movie does scale a lot better than Lion King, just by how grand the monuments that they put in the art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the week after next we'll do. Well, I don't know how we would do it since the 10 Commandments is long. That's a long, long movie.
We'll have to probably split it up.
Yeah, since it's 3 hours and 40 minutes. Oh, interesting. It's free on ABC, of all places. Okay. It probably won't allow us to watch it, though, and not get copyright struck. But that's at least something. Something at least. Nice. Well, yeah, we would definitely have to split it in 2, because if we watch the whole thing, that would be that's a lot. That's a lot. All right. I think we'll call it good for this evening, or this afternoon, rather. Thank you all for coming. This was a good stream, and we had some spicy Lindsay Ellis commentary to give some foreshadowing and context.
Man, come on. Like, come on. This is kind of a black and white scenario over here. It's like, Ramses, let the Hebrews go already. It's like, no, I don't wanna. It's like, bro, it's gonna get worse if you don't. It's like, nah, I'm gonna keep being a slaver because reasons.
I am going to double down on my assholery.
I swear to God. Something tells me Lindsay Ellis is part of the media literacy crowd, and I just find the sheer irony of the media literacy crowd being completely illiterate, and not just with media.
Oh yeah, she is definitely that. Like, she'll talk about how like she, a lot of her videos are just bad, and it's just kind of rough.
Yeah. But anyway, that's enough bashing on a gal. I bet she's probably already gone through far too much anyway. We don't really need to add more onto the pyre.
I would agree. Another thing about Lindsay Ellis is that she's done, I guess, the right thing and put all of her stuff behind a Nebula paywall. Like, she's still making content, but she's gone to Nebula and just makes stuff on Nebula and nothing else.
Yeah, and to be fair, just let all the rejects stay on Nebula. Let them take their bad content and stay over there, please and thank you. Also, man carrying thing apparently got a Nebula membership, which, man, I felt so betrayed when I saw that.
Yeah, since it's basically Nebula is the home of people like Just Right, Patrick Willems, Lindsay Ellis, Maggie Mayfish.
The midwits who think themselves so highly intelligent just because they read some random obscure European philosopher's book on why you secretly want to F your mom and kill your dad. That makes them a genius now.
Yeah, kinda.
I cannot express enough my contempt for such pseudo-intellectuals.
I'm actually with you. Yeah. That checks out. Okie dokie. Well, I think that we will call it good for today. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing the rest of the week, but anyway, we will call it good for today. Adios.
All right. Bye, everybody.